Wow, that's delicious. We've got some delicious vinyl too. This is Vinyl Happy Hour, and I'm Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records right here in Rockford, Illinois. I'm kind of reversing the show tonight. Typically, every Thursday we bring in and bust open 5 brand new releases that are getting dropped the next day. Usually I pick the 5th record to be my holy grail or rarest one. I'm reversing that tonight and bringing out the rarest one and most interesting one at top, I think. But it's also National Tequila Day. I like to feature a drink and have something to drink while I'm kind of previewing some records, getting ready for the show. So for that, I usually go with the bourbon. I'm not opposed to tequila, especially a good tequila. As anything in life, I think you should be able to treat yourself to have nice records, a nice stereo, whatever. Have a good time, get a good drink, and that is a really nice one tonight. This is actually, we got kind of hooked up with this through our local friends over at Lucha Cantina. This is their actual private bottled Huradura double-barreled Reposado tequila. That is a mouthful, but it is delicious. This is from a hand-selected barrel. It's got really great packaging on it too. This is like metal horseshoe from Mexico bottled there, and it's actually labeled for Rockford, Illinois at Lucha Cantina. This came from barrel number 1699. So the folks from Lucha Cantina actually went down there, got to taste and check out the facility, and they handpicked this barrel. They thought, this has been double barreled. It's a tequila that has soaked up some of the barrel aging and a little bit of the smoky flavor of whatever barrels they were using, and it had just the right taste for them. And I'm so glad they brought it in, because you do have some of the sweetness, like that kind of softy, soft, earthy flavor of a tequila, but it gives me that little smokiness, almost like a little bit of a smoked, I don't know, kind of a smoked fruit almost too. Even a butterscotch almost, so that is really delicious, like I said. Even a little bit of that earthier flavor that you might pick up from a scotch, but that is such a good bottle of tequila. We've been waiting to bust that open. I figured tomorrow's National Tequila Day. Let's check it out. Like I said, we are getting into this. I've been a huge record collector for years, but I don't let genres stand in my way. I love checking out everything. I went through a phase of many years of listening to metal and hardcore and nothing but this band, I talked about them last week, 100 Gecs. This is their album that came out last week, and we are going to be sharing, the links here too to all these records, or you can check out cultureshockshop.com to find these records. Of course, pick them up in the store too. This, though, is 100 Gecs. It's called 1000 Gecs. Let me get this right. Oh, and the Tree of Clues. This is a remix album. So it's most of the songs that you'll find in this album, but all remixed, and they're actually working with people from Fall Out Boy, Charlie XCX, Rico Nasty, Caro Caro Bonita, Dorian Electra. So it's really great to see them working with all these people. But first I want to show off this record. So they did a limited color variant, which actually, so this was going to be a record store day release, which got delayed, so they pulled it and made it a regular release. But it's called Ghostly Green Vinyl. And seeing the digital image just didn't do it justice. Like, I was like, oh, that looks like a splattery green. I don't know if you can see it right now on this camera, but there's like little ghosts everywhere in the record. Look at the little eyes and stuff and the little open mouth. When I saw this in person, I was like, what a cool effect. Ghostly green vinyl. If you haven't heard 100 Gecs yet, I raved about them last week on the show. One of my kind of favorite new bands. They're totally just putting an axe through genres. This is like glitchy pop, emo, rap, whatever, electronic stuff. This duo has put together some crazy stuff. And the remixes are really cool too. They incorporate a little more, sometimes industrial electronic, sometimes more hip hop. It's a load of fun and it's crazy wild. It's also funny that the little sticker does say Record Store Day on it, even though it didn't end up coming out as a Record Store Day release. Besides the vinyl, this is a gatefold jacket, so we'll show off the full artwork of it. There's only a few thousand copies of these. I don't know what happened, but since the Record Store Day order got deleted from this, we were able to pick up quite a few copies. So if you check out cultureshockshop.com or stop into the store, we should have you covered. They are sold out from the supplier and from the band, so get it while you can. But that's 100 Gecs, 1000 Gecs in the Tree of Clues remix album. Super cool. Here's another weird one, because this was supposed to be a Record Store Day release, but coronavirus has just thrown us all out of whack. So this one got pulled off the list and got released on a regular date. This is a reissue, or maybe the first time even on vinyl, because it's from '93. I've never seen it on vinyl. This is the Skatalites Skavoovee, and this is on blue vinyl, and it comes with a bonus 7-inch record. The Skatalites were like originators of Jamaican ska, dance, reggae. There's an insert that comes with it. let's check out the LP. This is all instrumental, so it's like really cool, a lot of really cool horns, a little bit of Jamaican soul, but they are a ska band. They had started in the earlier 60s actually, so they're a pretty old band. They had parted ways for quite a while. This was part of one of their many resurgences. I think they breathed some new life into them. They had some new members in the band at this time also. But what's really cool is they have some of the originators of the band still with them. So they still have that authentic 60s reggae ska feel. As you can see, it's a huge band. So they have a whole bunch of different horn players, drummers, things like that. But it's all instrumental. It's no vocals. Just a lot of dancing, a lot of horns, and a lot of music. Really cool to check it out. This was supposed to be a record store day release, so this is also only available to independent record stores. So these are being considered indie store exclusives. You can only buy them through independent record stores. They're not available to like websites and chain stores and things like that, and they're all limited editions, so they won't be repressing them, or at least not on this color vinyl. Really cool though, check this out. Skatalites, whether or not you've heard of them, hundreds of bands that you listen to have, and they've influenced all sorts of punk, reggae, ska bands, soul bands even, a lot of bands with horns too. The incorporation of in the 90s especially, the rebirth of ska music was crazy. So a lot of that will trace back to the Skatalites, I'm sure. Like I said, I listen to a lot of different things, but this band ranks up there as one of my favorites. They're brutal, they're heavy, and they're still making music. They're a little bit older now. The Acacia Strain. This is their new album on Rise Records, actually, Slow Decay. They've been teasing this release for a little bit. They dropped some singles from it. This is the store exclusive. They don't say what color it is, like the other one's called Ghostly Green. I'll just call this gold vinyl. I didn't know if they were going to have a clever name for it or not. That seems to be a thing to do with bands right now. They did a gatefold as well. Even more than that, though, they actually have this huge, all the artwork from the slow decay. You can see the slow decay of the land. I'm not going to open it all the way up, but this is a huge fold-out poster that comes with it that incorporates the full artwork piece from the album jacket. These guys are brutal. They are heavy. They were one of the pioneers of really, really chuggy, heavy, low, multi-string guitars. They were using, you know, six-string bass and seven-string guitars. They've had some member changes over the years, though, but they are still doing it really heavy. This one is a little darker, though, for sure, and this was being written pre-pandemic and everything like that, so it's kind of fitting that it gets released now. I think the slow decay of a lot of society and other things kind of incorporated. It's still a little hard to understand the vocals, which is fine with me. They're very low and heavy also. There's some heavy chugging though on this, but it's a little more, it's not really progged out, but it's a little more in depth. They've definitely matured a little bit. I'm really happy. They actually just had another album drop a few months ago. It comes in waves. That was a great release too. So these guys still doing it, like I said. I don't know, it's probably their, 8th, 9th album, I think. So they have a change of record labels though, so they've got some videos. They definitely took advantage of that and did some extra artwork and did some different things with the packaging, so that's really cool. Let me slide this out of the way. I'm bringing out some of my favorite records now too, because this is one I've been searching for over 20 years now. I've never found a copy. This is PJ Harvey, her very first album, Dry. This was a 1992 release. This is a reissue of it. Sounds beautiful. She's a beautiful artist. I just tell you, that 90s vibe is all, I love that. It's just such a good indie rock album. It's got its climactic heavies and enigmatic vocals, but it's definitely more of that stripped down indie rock for the majority of it. The heavier parts where it kind of goes up and down remind me more of like the Pixies and the Breeders and even Slater-Kinney, some of those bands like that, the 90s stuff. So this I found out, by looking at this. No wonder I've never found a copy. It never got released in the US on vinyl. 92 is a crap year for vinyl. So I don't buy online usually. I love to pick up a record and find one in the real world. That's why I've never found one. They were released overseas on vinyl, but this is her first album, and I was really excited to find out some of her, like her second and third album are also getting reissued. That 90s stuff's so hard to find on vinyl, so I'm really happy to see that that is coming out. So that's one of my picks, and I picked up a copy. We have some for the store too. It's just so cool to see these things getting a proper reissue on vinyl now. Sometimes 90s stuff is getting a first time ever issue on vinyl. This is something I wasn't even aware of until this week, because it's getting released. they also released PJ Harvey's Dry Demos from the Dry album. I decided to get this too because I haven't heard it, of course, but it's her very first album. It's really stripped down. I love the vocals on it. It is just her and a couple guitar tracks, you know, some acoustic and electric guitar. No drums. I don't even know if the other members of the band were working on this with her. It sounds sharp. It sounds very fresh and live. I mean, it's a great pressing. So I was worried, you know, you hear, oh, what are these demos all about? There's some new photos too that come with it. I was like, is this going to be like her home tape player recordings or something like that? But no, it's legit studio recordings. I think the other reason her very first album's kind of tough to find, it was on some small English private label before she got signed to Island Records. So they probably didn't release it much. I was reading also that they only gave her about $5,000 for her band to record that first album. But it sounds amazing. Even the demos sound amazing. I was like, I'm going to pick this up since it's her first album. Usually that's something I want to get into. One other thing to note about this, it does come with a little download card. These, I couldn't find them streaming either. The demos, the album, you can stream and check it out. So that's nice that they do give you the download. So if you can, you know, you want to hear it on the go or on your phone or whatever, you can also pick it up digitally. But I just thought they did a really great job. Even though these are one of my favorite, you know, releases of the week, it's not even on colored vinyl or wasn't even an option. That's just a great pressing, a great sounding recording. It's really cool to see. Like I said, we like to talk about some of these independent releases and things you can only pick up at your independent record store. We put a lot of work and time into curating what we have in the store, both in our used record section and our new vinyl, and what we have on our website at cultureshockshop.com. So we are posting the links to these also. You can find them right there. And if you're watching this, especially if you're already on YouTube watching this, I hope you take a second, subscribe to the channel, check out our previous Vinyl Happy Hour videos if you haven't. Go ahead and give it a like too, and drop any comments you want. I'd love to hear your ideas for future topics and other things we can discuss on a show. But every week, be prepared. We're going to be bringing out 5 of our top picks for the week, or our holy grails or limited records. So until then, have a good National Tequila Day, and we will see you soon. Cheers.